Most players are completely ignoring the biggest feature in Blue Protocol right now, and they're missing out on free rewards, exclusive items, and a whole system that basically prints resources for you while you're offline. So if you've been sleeping on the Homestead system, or you unlocked it but have no idea what you're actually supposed to do with it, this guy's going to walk you through everything. And I mean everything. How to unlock it, how the whole thing works, what you should focus on first, and how to actually make your homestead work for you instead of just being a fancy decoration that sits there doing nothing. Alright, so the Homestead system unlocked on day 5 of Blue Protocol Star Resonance, and honestly, a lot of people saw it, got confused, and just went back to farming dungeons, which I get. The game doesn't really explain this system well, and when you first look at it, there's like a million different menus and NPCs and currencies, and it's just overwhelming. But here's the thing, once you understand how it works, the Homestead becomes one of the most useful systems in the entire game. And I'm not just talking about decorating your house to make it look cool, although you can absolutely do that if that's your thing. I'm talking about actual gameplay benefits, free materials, extra coins, shared storage between your characters, and even exclusive furniture that you can only get from events. So before we dive into all the details, let me break down the core problem that most players are facing right now. You unlock the Homestead, you walk around your empty island, you talk to a few NPCs, and then you're just standing there like, okay, now what? What am I supposed to be doing here? What's the point of all this? And that's exactly what this video is going to solve. By the end of this, you're going to know exactly how to maximize your homestead, what to prioritize, and how to turn the system into a resource-generating machine. Let's start from the very beginning. How do you actually unlock the Homestead? So, the unlock process is pretty straightforward, but you do need to complete a specific quest. You're going to get this quest from an NPC named Connor. Connor is going to give you the Homestead quest, and your job is to complete it. Now, this quest is basically a tutorial quest that introduces you to the system. Here's what you need to do. Connor is going to ask you to donate items. Specifically, you need to donate 10 items, 2 times. So 20 items total. Now, these items are mostly things you get from life skills like gathering, mining, logging, all that stuff. But here's a pro tip that's going to save you a ton of time. You don't actually have to go farm these items yourself. You can just go to the NPC exchanges and buy them. They're super cheap. Like, we're talking pocket change here. So don't waste your time running around the map gathering stuff when you can just buy everything you need in like 30 seconds. Once you turn in those donations to Connor, he's going to bring you to your home island. This is your personal homestead area. It's instanced, so it's just yours. Nobody else can show up here unless you invite them, which I'll explain later. After Connor brings you to your island, you complete the quest, and boom, you've officially unlocked the Homestead system. But that's just the unlock. Now comes the part where the game basically throws 4 different NPCs at you and expects you to figure out what each one does. Let me break down each NPC for you because understanding what they do is super important. First, let's talk about the main screen. When you open your Homestead menu, you're going to see a bunch of different options. You can change and edit your Homestead name, which is just a cosmetic thing, but some people like customizing that stuff. You're also going to see different currencies. There's coins that you get from the store, the mystery store, friendship, and commissions. We'll get into commissions in a bit because that's actually really important. There's also a tidy option, because your homestead can actually get dirty over time. Yeah, you heard that right. Your virtual house can get dirty. We'll talk about cleaning later because there's actually an NPC dedicated to that. Then you've got the upgrade center. This is huge. The upgrade center shows you all the possible upgrades you can make to your homestead. It tells you what each upgrade does, what it unlocks, how much experience you need, and how many homestead coins you get per level. The max level right now is 8, so you're going to be working toward that level 8 cap to unlock everything. This is basically a catalog of all the furniture that's available in the game. If you're the type of person who likes to plan out your house before you start building, this is super useful. You can browse through everything and start coming up with ideas for how you want to decorate. And speaking of furniture, there are events right now that have exclusive furniture. This is important. If you miss these events, you might not be able to get that furniture again. So make sure you're checking the event tab regularly and grabbing any exclusive items while they're available. Now let's talk about roommates. Yeah, you can have roommates in your homestead, you can invite other players to live with you, and they can even invite people too. But there's a catch. They need to have an activated friendship level with you. That means they need to be over level 40 and actually be friends with you in the game. You can't just add a random person and make them your roommate. You have to actually play with them and build up that friendship level first. So that's the main menu. Now let's go through each NPC one by one, because each one has a specific role. First NPC we need to talk about is Sophia. Sophia handles warehouse management, and this is actually one of the most underrated features of the Homestead system. Sophia gives you access to a shared warehouse. What does that mean? It means if you're running multiple characters, like alts, you can use this warehouse to transfer items between them. Let me give you an example. Let's say you have a main character, and then you create an alt character, maybe a marksman or a frost mage. You can have that alt AFK in certain areas, farm materials, and then put those materials in the shared warehouse. Then your main character can go to the warehouse and take those materials out. It's basically a way to funnel resources from your alts to your main. This is especially useful for culinary, which is one of the life skills in the game. I might make a separate video about culinary because it's a whole thing, but just know that the shared warehouse is going to be super important if you're planning to run alts. Next up is Delphine. Delphine is the merchant, and she runs the Homestead store. This is where you can buy furniture. When you talk to Delphine and open the store, you're going to see a bunch of different furniture options. Some of it is unlocked right away, and some of it is locked behind progression. As you level up your homestead, more furniture becomes available. The store is broken down into categories. You've got ornaments, gardening items, floral arrangements, all that stuff. You can browse through and see what's available. And here's something interesting. Delphine also sells materials, so if you don't want to buy materials with Luno, which is one of the main currencies in the game, you can use Homestead coins instead. This gives you another option for getting the materials you need without spending your Luno. Delphine also has a flower recycling option. I'm not going to go super deep into that right now, but just know it's there if you end up doing a lot of gardening. Now let's move on to Connor. Connor is probably the most important NPC in your homestead because he handles commissions. Commissions are basically daily quests that you can do to earn homestead coins and experience. And the amount of coins you get depends on which commission you pick. Here's how it works. There are 3 tiers of commissions. The first tier gives you between 1,200 and 1,500 coins. Second tier gives you between 2,000 and 2,500 coins. And the third tier gives you between 3,500 and 4,000 coins. Obviously, you want to focus on the third tier because it gives the most coins. Now, the third tier does require a bit more effort, but it's not that bad. Most of the time, you're just turning in specific materials. And here's another pro tip. You can go to the weaving exchange and get refined materials there, so you don't have to farm everything from scratch. One of the materials you're going to want to stock up on is engram dust crystals. These are super important because they're used for a lot of different things. Smelting, gem crafting, furniture crafting, weaving. Basically, if you're doing any kind of crafting in the game, you're going to need engram dust crystals. But yeah, commissions are something you should be doing every single day. The coins you get from commissions are used to buy furniture and materials, so it's a consistent way to farm homestead currency. The last NPC is Alice. Alice handles cleanup. Remember when I mentioned that your homestead can get dirty over time? Well, Alice is the one who helps you clean it up. The way this works is that as you use your homestead, it's going to accumulate dirt and mess. If you don't clean it, it can actually affect certain things. So you want to talk to Alice regularly and do cleanup quests. The cleanup system is pretty simple. You just walk around your homestead and pick up any trash or mess that's appeared. It's not a huge deal, but it's something you need to stay on top of. So those are the 4 main NPCs in your homestead. Sophia for shared warehouse, Delphine for the store, Connor for commissions, and Alice for cleanup. Once you understand what each one does, the system becomes a lot less confusing. Now let's talk about how life skills tie into the homestead system, because this is where things get really interesting. As you level up your life skills, you unlock more recipes. And a lot of those recipes are for furniture and materials that you can use in your homestead. Let's break down each life skill and what it unlocks. First, there's smelting. Smelting allows you to unlock metal recipes. So if you want to craft furniture or items that require metal, you need to level up your smelting skill. The higher your smelting level, the more metal recipes you unlock. Next is Artisan. Artisan is all about wood-type recipes. So if you're crafting furniture that's made of wood, you're going to need to level up your Artisan skill. Same deal as smelting. The higher your skill level, the more recipes you unlock. Then there's gem crafting. Gem crafting is based on stone. So any furniture or items that require stone materials are going to come from your gem crafting skill. Again, level it up to unlock more recipes. After that, we have alchemy. Alchemy is more plant-based, so if you're crafting furniture or items that use plants or herbs, you're going to want to level up your alchemy skill. There are also some brick-style recipes tied to alchemy, which is kind of interesting. The point is, if you want to get serious about decorating your homestead or crafting high-level furniture, you need to level up your life skills. They all tie together. You can't just ignore life skills and expect to have access to everything in the homestead system. Now let's talk about the 3 major features of the homestead that you're going to be interacting with the most. Crafting station, the planting system, and the actual house decoration. First, the crafting station. Your homestead has a crafting station with 4 slots. This is where you can craft furniture and items. You can queue up multiple crafts at once, which is super convenient. Just load up the crafting station with whatever you want to make, and it'll work through the queue over time. You also have an archive that you can view from the crafting station. The archive is basically a record of all the furniture and items you've crafted. If you don't want to check it from the main menu, you can just look at it here. It's a nice way to keep track of what you've made and what you still need to craft. Next, let's talk about planting. And, okay, I'm going to be real with you. Planting is probably the most complex system in the homestead. Maybe even one of the most complex systems in the entire game. Here's how it works. You have 8 plant slots in your homestead. You plant a seed, you get pollen from it, and then you harvest the plant. Simple enough, right? Well, not exactly, because there's RNG involved. And not just any RNG. There's an entire color gene pool mechanic for flowers. Yeah, you heard that right. The flowers in this game have genetics. When you plant a flower, it can produce offspring with different colors based on the gene pool. So if you're trying to get a specific color flower, you might have to breed multiple generations of flowers to get the color you want. I know this sounds insane, and honestly it is, but some people are really into this kind of stuff. If you're a completionist or you just like experimenting with game systems, the planting mechanic is going to be right up your alley. But if you just want to decorate your house and don't care about flower genetics, you can pretty much ignore this system. The planting system is there if you want to dive deep into it, but it's not required for anything essential, so don't stress about it if it seems too complicated. And finally, let's talk about decorating your house. This is the part that a lot of people are excited about because it's where you get to be creative and make your homestead actually look cool. When you enter your house, you're going to see a big open space. This is your decoration area. The game uses a grid system for placing furniture. Everything snaps to the grid, which makes it easier to line things up and create symmetrical designs. Now, here's something important. The decoration grid only applies to the main area of your house. You can't expand into other areas right now. I know that might sound disappointing, especially if you were hoping to decorate a huge sprawling mansion, but the current system is pretty limited in terms of space. The good news is that this is going to change. In Season 2, the developers have said they're going to improve the housing system. Right now, housing is pretty bare bones. You can tell it's a first iteration of the system. But in the future, they're planning to let you change the area, modify the landscape, and probably add more space for decoration. So if you're feeling limited by the current system, just know that it's going to get better. For now, work with what you have and get creative within the space you're given. And honestly, even with the limitations, people are already making some really cool houses. You're going to see people on Discord and other community spaces showing off their homesteads. And some of them are wild. People are getting super creative with the furniture placement and making some impressive designs. If you're into housing systems and games, you're probably going to have a lot of fun with this. And if you're not, that's fine too. The Homestead system has enough gameplay benefits that you can engage with it without worrying too much about making your house look perfect. So let me quickly recap everything we've covered so far. You unlock the Homestead by completing a quest from Connor. The quest requires you to donate 20 items total, which you can buy from NPC exchanges. Once you complete the quest, you get access to your Homestead Island. There are 4 main NPCs. Sophia handles the shared warehouse, which is useful for transferring items between alts. Delphine runs the store, where you can buy furniture and materials. Connor manages commissions, which are daily quests that give you homestead coins and experience. And Alice handles cleanup to keep your homestead tidy. Leveling up your life skills unlocks recipes for furniture and materials. Smelting gives you metal recipes. Artisan gives you wood recipes. Gem crafting gives you stone recipes. And alchemy gives you plant-based recipes. Your homestead has a crafting station with 4 slots where you can queue up crafts. There's also a planting system with 8 slots, but the planting system is super complex because of RNG and color genetics. And finally, you can decorate your house using a grid system, though the space is limited right now and will be expanded in Season 2. Now let me give you some final tips to help you get the most out of your homestead. First, do your commissions every day. Seriously, this is the easiest way to farm homestead coins, and you're going to need those coins to buy furniture and materials. Focus on the 3rd-tier commissions because they give the most coins. It's a bit more effort, but it's worth it. Second, if you're running alts, use the shared warehouse. This is one of the best features of the Homestead system, and a lot of people are sleeping on it. You can basically create a whole resource pipeline by having alts farm materials and funnel them to your main character. Third, check the event tab regularly. There are exclusive furniture items that you can only get from events, and if you miss them, you might not be able to get them again. Don't let FOMO kick in later because you ignored the events. Fourth, level up your life skills. I know life skills aren't the most exciting part of the game, but they're directly tied to the Homestead system. If you want access to all the furniture recipes, you need to level up smelting, artisan, gem crafting, and alchemy. It's worth the investment. And finally, don't stress too much about making your house perfect right away. The decoration system is fun, but it's not the main point of the Homestead. Focus on gameplay benefits first. Get your commissions done, use the shared warehouse, craft useful items, and then worry about decorating later. And finally, don't stress too much about making your house perfect right away. The decoration system is fun, but it's not the main point of the Homestead. Focus on gameplay benefits first. Get your commissions done, use the shared warehouse, craft useful items, and then worry about decorating later. The Homestead system is one of those features that seems overwhelming at first, but once you get the hang of it, it becomes second nature. Just take it step by step, and before you know it, you'll have a fully upgraded homestead that's generating resources for you on autopilot. And look, I get it, this is a lot of information. The Homestead system has a lot of moving parts, and the game doesn't do a great job of explaining everything. That's why I wanted to make this guide, so you don't have to waste time figuring everything out on your own. If you found this helpful, subscribe for more Blue Protocol Star Resonance guides.